Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on demand care for common ailments such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org.
At Boise State Public Radio, storytelling is at the heart of what we do, and on Instagram, we get to share even more with you. From breaking news updates and deeper dives into local issues to behind-the-scenes reels, it's where our community comes together. Be part of it by following Boise State Public Radio on Instagram and see the stories unfold.
I'm Samantha Wright, filling in for Gemma Gaudette. You're listening to Idaho Matters. Every year, more than 400 birds crash headlong into the windows of East Junior High School, not realizing that they're flying into solid glass. The school and its 38 windows sits near the Boise foothills, putting it in the path of birds who don't realize the glass reflection is really a deadly trap. Students like Charlotte Mang and Akshara Nataraj wanted to stop these collisions, so along with the Golden Eagle Audubon Society and a grant from the City of Boise's Youth Climate Action Fund, they joined Project Skyward, leading to a 95% decline in bird window collisions. We wanted to find out more, so joining us now are Charlotte, the Project Skyward Project Implementation Manager at East Junior High and a student reporter at the Timberline Paw Print, Akshara, the Project Skyward at East Junior High Survey Data Coordinator, and Cynthia Wallace, Executive Director of the Golden Eagle Audubon Society. And Charlotte, I want to start with you. How did you get involved with all of this?
Yeah, so I actually got started. My family started birding and volunteering for Golden Eagle Audubon since I was in 7th grade, and my sister kind of got us interested in that. So around like 8th or 9th grade, Golden Eagle had an advocacy committee specifically targeting bird collisions and preventing them. So I saw this grant opportunity when I was like in the spring of my 9th grade year, and I thought it would be really helpful to have money to further the reach of our advocacy efforts beyond just residential areas, but also to students and educators.
That's great. I love that you started early with birding. It's so much fun. I love doing it. Akshara, how did you get involved?
Um, yeah, so Charlotte reached out to me and she told me about this project, and I felt that it was a very great cause. I didn't know much about bird collisions in like my community, but I did notice it like around my house, and I always felt so bad. So when I found out about this project, I of course wanted to help because I thought it would be a great cause and it would be great to make a positive impact in our community.
Wow, that's wonderful. Cynthia, Charlotte mentioned the Audubon Society's focus on bird collisions and preventing them. Do we know how many birds die each year when they crash into windows?
We do. Most recent data shows about 1.2 billion birds die a year in the United States. So that's a significant amount of birds every single year. And a
Wow.
lot of that is prevented. So that's what some of this work that Charlotte and Nekshar are doing is helping with.
Wow. Okay, and Charlotte, you and others figured out that a lot of birds were dying because they were crashing into the windows at East Junior High. And I think there was a count of something like 420 birds.
That is correct. So when we were collecting our data, we were looking at how many dead birds there were and how many feather marks were on the windows, because only about 10% of collisions results in evidence left behind. So like as in dead birds. So we decided to take a look at the windows just to see if there's any feather marks or dust marks that are also very indicative of collisions. So we did find 35 collisions a month, and we estimated that that would be around 420 a year, with around 36 birds dying a year.
Wow, that's terrible. That is just
Mhm.
terrible. And Akshara, you were in charge of a lot of the data for this, right?
Yeah. So I kind of helped to create the surveys that were sent out to students at East, and the surveys contained questions that basically helped us to understand their awareness about bird fatalities and whether or not they implemented bird safe techniques at their home. So it kind of helped us to like focus our project and also measure the impact we made at the end of our project.
So, talk a little bit about you got a grant from the Boise Youth Climate Action Fund. How much did you get, and what did it pay for?
So we actually applied for the grant in early March of this year, and we got a total of $5,000 from the city. They got it from Bloomberg Philanthropies, which is a company based in the U.S. And we decided to use around like $3,500 to pay for the window dots that would be used to implement bird safe windows at East. So this would be like the film that covers the windows and dots to prevent birds from hitting windows, and other supplies like paint markers, which we use for some of the windows. It turned out to be pretty expensive, but we were lucky to have a discount from Feather Friendly. So, and the rest of the money we mostly just use for promotional materials like stickers or flyers, and food for volunteers and basic supplies like that.
Wow. Tell me more about these bird safe dots.
Yeah, so the dots are a film that we apply to the windows, and basically how the dots work. So birds kind of see windows as an extension of their habitat. So they fly into it at full speed because they don't know it's cold, hard glass. And the dots kind of break up that reflection to say, you can't go in here, the birds can't fit in here. So they kind of see it as not part of their habitat, but just as something they can't go into. So at East, we figured out it was actually really easy and simple to implement the film once we got over that initial learning curve. And we did recruit quite a few very hardworking and dedicated volunteers from Golden Eagle. They were amazing. And we basically got so many windows done in one morning. I was really impressed by everyone's efficient and quick work at that. So that was really just heartwarming to watch everyone working together and collaborating. It was really fun.
Wow. And you wrote about this because you're a reporter. You wrote about it, Project Skyward, for the Timberline Paw Print. That's the student news site of Timberline High School. Tell us about the story. It's a great story.
Yeah, so Timberline Paw Print was really helped us spread the word through our student-run publication, and we get to write about issues we're passionate about. So I thought it would be a great idea to talk about our project and reach out to the school community about getting involved in sustainability. So our piece was called "For Our Feathered Friends," and it was published in September. It was through a school-supported press release outreach, and it became a trending story on the Paw Print website. So for this article, I decided to interview Scarlett and Akshara for their unique experiences. We also wanted to encourage more youth involvement because the Timberline Paw Print primarily reaches out to students and educators. So it was really just a great opportunity to further our efforts, our outreach efforts to past just adults and more to the younger audience.
That's fantastic. I like that. Cynthia, I looked on a map before we started this. East Junior High is close to the Boise foothills. And there, as we know, are a lot of birds in the Boise foothills. So I'm guessing that foothills birds are some of the ones that are crashing into the school. Is that likely? Is that probably why maybe they have a higher percentage?
Yes, because of the location of the school, that certainly helps. It being so close to the foothills and birds transitioning maybe from the river up into the upperlands into the foothills. Landscaping around a building can really have a large effect also if there's trees too close or in such a way that the reflection of safe habitat is reflected into the windows, then that can also fool birds into flying into the, as Charlotte says, cold hard glass.
Wow, I didn't even think of that, but it makes sense. If there's a tree next to the window and the tree is reflected in the window, it looks like another tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, Charlotte, you got some volunteers. You got the dots up on the windows. No easy task. There are a lot of windows. Are they working? Are you thinking there are fewer birds hitting the windows?
For sure. So, Akshara and I worked with Scarlett Fields, another youth leader, and we worked together to kind of formulate the surveys and the data collections. And at the beginning of our term, we saw 35 bird collisions a month, as previously stated, but afterwards, we only saw 2 collisions a month. So that is a 95 decrease in bird collisions after the project was implemented. And we hope that because it's so effective as the first bird safe school in Boise, we can kind of set a precedent for other schools to also adopt bird friendly practices.
So it's a good model maybe for other schools?
Yeah, exactly. We're hoping that this can kind of show people that it's very aesthetic. It doesn't really disrupt the view or anything like that, and it's reasonable. It's pretty cost effective. We hope that other schools kind of have their own kind of green teams, and we're hoping that their green teams also start taking action by seeing East as an example of that.
And Akshara, after this experience, would you maybe encourage other students to start their own projects like this, sustainability projects?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage other students to take initiative to start project because you can definitely make a impact in your community, and it's a very good it's a good way to help save the birds. So I would definitely encourage other students and my peers around me to start such projects at their schools.
Was it fun? Did you have a good time doing it?
Yes, it was definitely so much fun. I loved helping implement the windows, and we took several days over the summer to implement the windows, and it was just so much fun seeing all the other volunteers, and it was a very great experience overall. I learned so much from it.
Cynthia, would you call this project a success story?
Oh, totally. Well, for one, we're on Idaho Matters, and that's super exciting. Um, uh, but yes, getting dots on a window, on windows, and talking about it is a success story for sure. And having this led by youth is also a success story. So there's a lot of good that's come out of this project. And as you can hear from Charlotte and Akshara, there's energy to keep it going, and we'll do that at Golden Eagle Audubon through our Project Skyward Committee and our Advocacy Committee and our youth leaders.
Charlotte, we hear a lot, a lot of us are worried about the effects of a warming planet, a changing climate, die off of species, and it's a big, 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 big issue. Is this a way to make a difference, really make a difference? I mean, sometimes we hear about all these problems and you think, well, there's nothing I can do because that's way too big. I can't save all the birds in the world. But is this a way to do a small part?
Definitely. I feel like I've been there where I feel super hopeless about it. But if I had to tell other youth or anyone worried about climate change, I would say there's so much hope. And there's this project is kind of an example of how small efforts like this kind of builds up quickly and makes a huge positive impact on a small community. And it's kind of like a chain reaction where one small thing kind of just like snowballs to bigger and bigger efforts. And I would encourage youth that want to make a difference, but they feel like they can't. They can start by getting involved in their school's green team, for example, proactively looking for volunteer and leadership opportunities with local organizations. Um, I think I can very, very much understand that people sometimes don't feel like they can make a big effort, but I would tell them otherwise that they can, and they can make a big impact on their community.
And Cynthia, something we could do at home, maybe, aside from not putting trees too close to the house. Could we do this on our home windows?
Yes, I would encourage you to look at our website. We have a lot of great information on there. So on the Golden Eagle Audubon website has a protect tab with a Project Skyward link, and there's some great information in there, and that's a really good place to start. We've interviewed twice now a representative from the American Bird Conservancy, and they are really the experts in this issue, and they're researching birds and how and why they collide with windows. And so much of the data that gets out there and that we promote about birds and window safe glass comes from the American Bird Conservancy.
Wow. Okay, and for Charlotte and Akshara, what's next? Do you have another project in mind? Where do you go from here?
Oh, we actually are hoping that this is only the beginning. We're looking to expand our efforts to other schools and residential areas because even though we're coming to the end of term for our grant project, we want to keep the momentum going, like continuing advocacy efforts. With the money, we also bought some supplies like tables and things like that we could use for presentations in the future. So there's so much of a lasting impact that this grant has made beyond just like our immediate project. We're also hoping to encourage other private buildings that it's feasible and effective, like businesses, residential homes, things like that, that people can actually start making a difference right at their own window.
And Akshara, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Charlotte said. I definitely think we should continue with this project and continue giving presentations to other schools in hopes that we can also encourage them to start their own projects.
Well, this has been great. I want to thank all of you for this. And what a great project. What a great idea. And thanks for coming on the show.
No, thank you, Samantha. We really appreciate this opportunity and getting to spread our word even further. So this has been super fun.
Thank you, Samantha.
We've been speaking with Charlotte Mang, the Project Skyward Project Implementation Manager at East Junior High School. She's also a student reporter at the Timberline Paw Print. We've also been speaking with Akshara Nadaraj, the Project Skyward at East Junior High School Survey Data Coordinator, and Cynthia Wallace, the Executive Director of the Golden Eagle Audubon Society, about turning East Junior High into the first bird-safe school in the city of Boise.
And that'll do it for this episode of Idaho Matters. Thanks so much for listening. And just a reminder, you can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
Sources and methods, the crown jewels of the intelligence community. Shorthand for how do we know what's real? Who told us? If you have those answers, you're on the inside, and NPR wants to bring you there. From the Pentagon to the State Department to spy agencies, listen to understand what's really happening and what it means for you. Sources and Methods, the new national security podcast from NPR.